5 years discovering something very interesting about art and literature at first, which I'll explain to you. And then I realised how it's something that we've all been missing for a few hundred years. So let me explain a little bit about this. There's an image inside the front cover, which is the way that the world used to be seen up until the time of Copernicus and Galileo and Isaac Newton. So when, for 2,000 years, the world was seen as being at the centre of the universe and unmoving, and the Earth was unmoving and still at the centre of the world, of the universe, and all the planets were going around it. And this was from the time of before the 5th century BC, right the way up until 1472, when Copernicus stated that in fact the Earth was going around the Sun, and that brought about what was called the heliocentric theory. And then Galileo backed that up, and then science started to become developed from that. And by the time of Isaac Newton publishing his theory of gravity, the world's viewpoint, humanity's viewpoint, had become completely heliocentric. That is to say, we all believed that the Earth is going around the Sun. Now, I'm not here to dispute science. It's very obvious that we are going around the Sun. But this map, the idea of Earth being at the centre, was actually how the ancients used to see the world. And the reason they saw the world in that way is because from each of our own perceptions of the world, we are at the centre of our own world. All of us are at the centre of each of us, at the centre of our own world. When I stand here talking to you, the world is around me like this. Same with you. You're at the centre of your own world. And that's why the geocentric viewpoint was created, because the ancients used to have, how do they see the world? They see the world through their 5 senses. So they had, like we do today, we had the 5 senses that bring us all the input. Now this was really largely forgotten from about 400 years ago. And humanity followed this heliocentric theory. But it kind of left us a little bit, with regards to our consciousness, with regards to our awareness at the centre of consciousness, it kind of left us a bit off kilter. We've been kind of going slightly off on a direction, to the point that 400 years down the line, we've all lost our centre. We have actually lost our centre as a collective. We're taught that the Earth's going around the Sun. And because we believe that to be the case, we don't see the world from our own central viewpoint. So we see ourselves as being separate from nature, for example. So the idea is that, oh yes, I look at nature and it's out there and it's nothing to do with me, So science and everything that we've done has been separated from nature. We're not connected to nature. And it's time to readdress that imbalance, because the world really needs us to reconnect to our centres again. We need to find ourselves again, to be back in our centre. Now, not only that, so this book describes how to do that. It's a simple set of exercises, and I'm going to show you some of those today. But I do hope you'll buy the book as well, because there's a lot more in here that reveals so much more. But the point being here is that this technique shows how everything is within us. So I'm going to start to show you a little bit more about what I mean by that. And I think I'm going to talk firstly about how to be creative. Creative manifestation is when we have an idea for something, we then put it out into the world. So it can be an idea to write a letter, or to speak something, or to paint, or to do poetry, or to do something that is an expression of self, or it's coming up in the imagination. In ancient Greece, they called it the imago, which is the fact that we have an inner light that is as strong as the outer light. right now we are all experiencing the outer light. Here we are in the daylight, and we've even got electric lights to enhance this outer light. But the inner light is the actual images that the imagination gives us, and that's the imago. If I was to say to you now, tropical beach, clear blue sea rolling on crystal clear white sand with palm trees, you can all see that, right, in your mind's eye. In the imago, you can see an image of that, right? That's how strong the imagination is, okay? So when you activate the divine order and you realize that you have this idea to think in this way, then you can turn that thought into like a form of reality by manifesting what you wish and what you want. But what I'm going to show you today is specific techniques, and it's to get the most, to be at the most empowered with it, is to choose the time that you do it. Because this is why I'm an astrologer, is because we live in the present moment, but we're moving through time all the time. And deeply embedded in our unconscious is the fact that the planets are constantly moving through us as a form of consciousness. So the mind moves like a raging river, it's just constantly, what's all these thoughts coming up all the time, memories, thinking this, thoughts there. So in my space around me, I have a constant flow of thinking. We all do. It's like the internal narrative. But what is that? Is there any way of understanding it better? Working with it to actually sort of give it almost a bit of like control of it, because it's a bit wild at times. And it can create all sorts of different states of being, states of mind. But there is timing, and it's called, an ancient system called the planetary hours. And the planetary hours are based on the 7 days of the week. And there are 7 visible planets. Before telescopes, before Galileo, there were 7 visible planets. And that is, in the order of the planets goes moon, because that's the closest that we can see. We see the moon in the sky, that's our closest planet. Then Mercury, then Venus, then the sun. And the sun is the light giver at the center, casting all the light that we live, that's our star. Past the sun we have Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Now those 7 planets are the 7 days of the week, but it's all been hidden from us, at least for 400 years. Today is Saturn Day, Saturn's Day. Tomorrow will be Sun's Day, the day of the sun. On Monday we have Monday, or in French, lundi, lunar day, moon day. If you go to French, you then have mardi for Mars, mercredi for Mercury, jeudi for Jupiter, and vendredi for Friday. The same in Spanish, the same in all the European languages. You can track out the names of the planets, but also in Japanese, and in Chinese, and in Hindi, the same. Okay, so all the 7 planets are the 7 days of the week. And what that is actually showing us is there's an order of time. Now the 7 days of the 7 days of the week go back to ancient Egypt. And it's the worship of when the sun rises in the morning with the light, the first light of day, then the hours are counted from that time. Now, once mechanical clocks were invented, a whole new system of understanding and rearranging the order of things occurred, to the point now that, of course, we have things like train timetables and, we have a whole system. But before clocks, there was a thing called the unequal hours, which was the measurement of time between sunrise one day, so to say this morning, the sun rose at say 6 a.m. or something, and then you count the hours until the sun set, and you divide by 12, and then you count the hours of night time until the next sunrise, and divide that by 12. So you have basically you have 24 planetary hours in one day, from sunrise all the way around to sunrise. And this book explains how to use those to empower yourself, because there are certain hours of the day when if you call on the planet during an hour, your consciousness, you will find that you can work with the feelings and thoughts and things that are coming up in your mind in a very effective way. And that's what this book is about. And it's all done, it's very simple to do. And so that's what I'm here to show you today with regards to my book. Now, furthermore, this diagram here, which is on the front cover as well, is the 7 spheres, and it is, the ancients used to believe that Earth was still and unmoving at the centre, around which we had 7 crystalline interlocking spheres of light, which are the planets. So we lived inside, like being at the centre of a whole super layers of Matryoshka dolls or Fabergé eggs. You know, the things that stack on, you know, how you stack things up, like the Russian dolls that you can stack. And they're the same image each time you take, it's like fractals. Well, the ancients used to believe that the 7 planets all lived at the centre of the 7 planets. So they were like these crystalline spheres, and they are governing the angels and the spirits. So whenever you're doing channeling, whenever you're doing any mediumistic work, you're actually tuning into the spheres around yourself, because we live inside this wonderful bubble of experience, and that is what I'm now going to show you. So we're going to do some experiments. Now these experiments are self-evident, okay? I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I'm going to say to you, try this out, and if you get the same experience as I'm getting, then clearly it works, okay? So it's self-evident to your own experience, all right? Now, you actually have to do this experiments, because if you just sort of listen and don't do them, then you don't necessarily get it, all right? So the first experiment is called the pointing experiment, and I need you to, firstly, let's look at it like this. Wherever attention goes, consciousness grows. So, an example being, I look around the room and I see a screen. And I go, screen, things on it. I look here and my attention goes to the clock and I say, clock, speaker, hatch, light, window, carpet. Wherever I'm going with my visual sight, my consciousness goes to it. And it comes up in my mind, is what it is, because it's based on memory, and it's based on what I experienced, what I already know that thing to be. Does everybody agree with me, what I'm trying to say there? Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So where attention goes, consciousness grows. But now I want you to I'm going to show you something called the difference between consciousness and awareness. Now this came about because I've done over the years a fair amount of Buddhism, I've done quite a lot of mindfulness, and I'm an astrologer, and I've worked with this understanding of how the ancients used to see the world, and I realised the difference between awareness and consciousness is the key to enlightenment. So instant enlightenment is not difficult to do. You don't have to sit on a meditation cushion for 20 years trying to clear your mind of thoughts, because that's not the way to do it. You just have to understand how to become enlightened. And if you think about it, the word enlightened is actually just the understanding of light and what light is. So I'm going to show you today now a technique that just shows you how to perceive light differently. And so it's this series of experiments. Okay. So I want you to have a pointing finger. This is a finger which you're going to point with. And I want you to, anywhere in the room, or to anything or anybody or anything, just point around things and tell yourself what you're seeing inside your head. So point at a light. That's a light, and it's bright. You know, there's a screen, book, laptop, batik, floor with brown carpet, white ceiling with Artex, hatch. Just do that 3 or 4 times around the room, and in your own mind, be saying what it is, because you're drawing your attention to the fact that your consciousness is activated by something. Has everybody got that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? So just do that 3 or 4 times. And That's it. Perfect, perfect. And now I want you, with your pointing finger, to point at your own foot. And in your mind, tell yourself about the foot that you're pointing at. Oh, it's my foot. I've got a black trainer on, yeah, with shoelaces, right? Just tell yourself what it is you're pointing at. And then I want you to point at your own knee. Oh yes, it's a knee. It's got a kind of curved thing. It's always been like that. You know, it's got fabric on it, yeah? So just confirming with yourself what you're looking at. And then I want you to point at your centre of your torso. Oh yeah, that's the centre of my torso. I'm wearing a kind of, whatever colour jumper that is, an orangey sort of colour or something. And then I want you to point at the space that you're looking out of. So that means pointing like this at your own space that you're looking out of. Now, we all can say, well, I'm pointing, it looks to me like you're all pointing at your own face, yeah? But the question is can you see your own face to describe it to yourself at this point in time? Because there's no mirrors, right? So you're looking at the space that you're looking out of, yeah? Are you pointing at the space that you're looking out of? Would everybody agree? Yeah? What is this space that I'm pointing at? What's in it? How would I describe it? How would I describe the space that I'm looking out of? Could it be that it's infinite capacity that contains the whole world? Because I'm moving around and the whole world moves with it. So if I move up like this and move down like that, then I'm moving around and the whole world moves with it because it's all in me. The world is in fact inside me. It's actually in my space. And that's quite interesting because it shows you that there's eternal awareness. The awareness is at the center of being. Yeah? Consciousness is out there, awareness is in here, and awareness never changes. Now when you were born, the moment of birth, yeah, is what we land into in this life, is we land into this. We land into that moment of birth and we're like, oh, here it is. The whole world is now inside my space. And I want you to now move this to the next experiment. Well, firstly, I want you to, as well pointing in, is to recognise that you point out. So take the second hand and point it out like this. So you've got two-way pointing. So you're pointing in as you're pointing out. Because it's very important to define that there's no dividing line between your space of pure awareness at centre. So at your centre, you have pure awareness that contains the whole world. There's no dividing line with the rest of the world. It is one and the same thing. That's why you point both ways. Because I'm going outwards as I'm going inwards. I'm pointing inwards, but at the same time recognising that that pointing inwards takes me outwards. Like this. No dividing line. So the awareness is pure at the centre and outwards moves out into consciousness. Now, having done that, I want you now, on the count of 3, to close your eyes. And keep your eyes closed while I talk to you, okay? So 3, 2, 1, and close your eyes. Now, I've just been pointing to you, showing you how to point to that awareness at centre. When you close your eyes, did that feeling of awareness at centre go away? No, it's still there, isn't it? Can you still feel the awareness at centre with your eyes closed? Yeah, that's the space of dreaming. So that's where we dream, yeah, because at night we close our eyes and we have these wonderful dreams, you know, whole stories, all sorts of stuff generated in our space of awareness for us. And great infinity, you know. Inside this space of awareness, when your eyes are closed, can you measure anything? Can I measure from left to right when my eyes are closed? No, I can't measure because I can't have anything to evaluate the measure. Can I go up and down? No, I can't go up and down. I just know that there's an infinite mind space in there. Can I go forwards and backwards? No, there's just this huge, everlasting, infinite mind space, yeah, which receives things like my voice. So, for example, I'm talking to you, and my voice is landing in that space of awareness. It's like a series of frequencies that are landing in the space. It happens to be my voice. But if you were to go and walk through the garden out there, and you could hear birds singing, then they would be landing in your space, yeah? As would a car driving past, as would a ticking of a clock, or anything like that. It just lands in your space. With your eyes still closed, if you're rubbing your hands together, try that now. Well, because my eyes aren't open, I can't tell that that's my hands. But what I'm actually getting is a sensation, right? Something's coming in to that infinite space at center, yeah? Right? It's things that are coming in. Can I, click my fingers? Yeah. Can I run my nail across my hands like this? I'm getting sensations. Can I count how many toes I've got right now? Well, I'm aware that there's something down there because I've got sensations, but I can't actually count the toes. Can I say how big I am? Well, I don't know. I just know that I exist, but I haven't got measurement of the space or the space that I fill, or what size or colour or anything. So I've got this beautiful space of awareness, okay, that is the same space as I spend half of my life dreaming at night time. I'm in that same space now as I am when I open my eyes. So on 3, 2, 1, I'm going to say open your eyes. And when you do, I want you to notice the difference. So 3, 2, 1, and open your eyes. And we're back. Suddenly it floods again with all this input. Oh, here it is all again. My consciousness is fully activated again. Oh, there's the light. Oh, there's the window. Oh, yes, there's the floor and the screen and all the people. Suddenly everything comes back. So I'm now interacting with my consciousness again. So what is this space that I find myself in? Well, I want you now to do the next experiment, which is about actually opening the third eye. Okay, so now a lot of people talk about the third eye being like, the activation of the pineal gland. Well, the pineal gland is just behind, in the middle of the space here. And the pineal gland is really just the light receiver. It's receiving light through our eyes. And I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a biologist or anything like that. I'm just going to say, what is the third eye? Well, we're all set up somewhere in here. And again, you have to spend immense effort to open your third eye. Well, you don't actually have to do that because it's instantaneous. And I'm going to show you how to do it now. So in order to find your third eye, I want you to create a pair of binoculars with your hands, like this. Okay, and then to put them on, okay, and recognize, as you're doing that, you recognize that you've always seen the world through a pair of eyes, a pair of apertures, if you like, that you're looking at the world through. And now, I want you to open the thumb and fingers, so you create like a diver's mask, like this. Okay, so you've got a diver's mask, and that's like when you're diving into, you go into whole other worlds when you go underwater, and there's an edge to it. So you now bring that edge out a little bit here, so your hands come to the sides of your head, and you can see them. You can see your hands, right? And then I want you to just widen it a little bit more, and then just pull them back so they vanish. Okay, right? Where are my hands? Now, ask yourself the question. Well, I know my hands are there, right? I am fully aware that my hands are there. But in my consciousness, I can't see them. I just know they're there. So I'll bring them back again. So move your hands back again so they're on the edge. And then bring them up into a circle around the top here, where a vanishing point. You want to bring them to the vanishing point, so I can see my fingers up there and waving them to me. I see them there. And then I bring them around the sides like this, and then I bring them out and then back up again here. And what am I making? What are you all making? Are you making a sphere? Are you making a circle? A sphere or a circle? Yeah? All right. And does that sphere or circle actually have a vanishing edge? Is it like, in fact, like an edge? You can't quite follow it. You can't follow the edge Because you go, where's that edge? I know it's there. Oh, just more world. Oh, there's more world there. Oh, there's the world. Oh, that's right, yeah. The world's everywhere. It is. But when you find the vanishing edge, it's like looking into a pool of water, yeah? A reflective surface. In fact, everything is a mirror. And you can pull the edge back, and then you know that it's like going into what is literally like the ancients would refer to the void, yeah? Or in Hinduism it's sunya, or it's the no thing. So you go into the no thing. There's the no thing behind, yeah? The edge of the frameless window. So there's that frameless window which just has a kind of a hatched edge. You can just about perceive it around the edge. But we're in this space. So this is our space, and it's a sphere. Going back to Greek philosophy, Plato talked about being in the perfect form of the sphere, and this is what he was referring to. So when the ancients then come up with the idea of geocentrism and being at the centre of the world, they were talking about Earth being still and unmoving at the centre, is to find oneself being still and unmoving at the centre. And what I've been showing you today is this edge is two eyes and the third eye, which is a single eye. The space you're in is your third eye. And this flowing edge that you can see is the world moving through you. So it's like you could get on a bus now and you'd be, the route's going to take me from Steyning to Brighton or something, right? But when you start to practice this edge, you'll suddenly see that the world flows through you and you're not going anywhere. In fact, you become what is called the unmoved mover of the world, which Dante in his Divine Comedy and Shakespeare and people like Chaucer, they all referred to a thing called the primum mobile, which is the Latin for the prime mover or the first mover of the world. And the primum mobile is the person who is still and unmoving at their centre. Now, start looking at things like poetry by Rumi. You might have heard of Rumi, the great Sufi poet. You might look into Hinduism, look at Buddhism, go into a church and look at the stained glass windows and see the halos of the saints. They have that orb around them. That's this frameless window. This is what the enlightened orb is, because you become enlightened by moving around within your space. And what you're actually seeing is the light and how it moves through you. So this is a key to understanding what do I channel in my consciousness. So what I'm trying to tell you today, and the reason I'm giving you this talk, is to tell you that manifestation is as you wish it. You enter into the psychic sphere, which is this edge, and your flow of consciousness, everything that's flowing through, is the planets, which is the divine order of the 7 spheres of light as they come down to our centre. So these spheres, the 7 spheres, are just one sphere. Like fractals, they're all the same and they have different sizes, but they're all in the same space that we are in. And that, my friends, is the divine order according to this ancient image. And so when you start walking around and you practice the divine order, which is simple to do, and it's just an instantaneous thing, it's just something that you can just choose to do it. Because we all have ego and identity, so we're always going third person. We always go outside of ourselves, and the no thing is behind us. That huge void of awareness is just there. But most of the time we just be ourselves. So we just move around life. But then if you want to connect to the creation and manifest and make wishes, then you go into your third eye space. And things start to arrive in you as opposed to you going to things. Yeah? So if I walk from here back to the main hall, the main hall is going to arrive in me when I go that way. I'm not going anywhere, but things are going to arrive this way. And this is how we connect collectively to everybody. And this is what humanity needs to do, because we are all one. We're all one consciousness, and that is what we all need to discover. And that, I believe, is the new wave for the new age. With Pluto going into Aquarius, hopefully we've revealed to you today a different way of seeing the world. And I hope you enjoyed that. If you combine it with astrology, thank you, you get even more insights, okay? And that's what my book's about. So please come and buy a copy of my book. I'll sign it for you, and come and talk to me more. You know, it's an interesting journey to be in. So thank you very much.